All right. Good day, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Today is the day of put everything together here to build our swirl filter. I think I have all the tools I need. The hole saw to cut our circle. I got, I don't know which one's going to be easier, the skill saw or the sawzall to cut the top off here of the barrel. What we're going to do is I'm just going to cut this top off right at the top here. And that way I can get in and out of the barrel. We're going to hook a tap up, hopefully hook a tap up on the bottom. And we're going to have our rubber bulkhead coming in our side for our drain back to our regular sump. I'm going to make like a P-trap type drain instead of having a bottom drain for my overflow drain in there. But here we'll take a look. We'll come back in here. And now I have cleaned out this corner, as you can see. It's almost like a cloud in here. The cold outside's in here. But I've cleaned this all out right here. And I'm going to build a stand. So the barrel should sit off the ground to here about. The barrel will sit up here. The water will come out into the barrel where I'll plumb in a place where it'll make the water swirl. Then all the heavy sediments will sink to the bottom. And all the water now, without the head that's all settled, all the water will overflow out the top and back into here, where we're going to go back into our grow beds, which I'm drawing up plans right now. We're going to get doing that right away too. So, but I got to level off some concrete cement footings in here on either side so I can build the stand onto it to put the tank there. I got to move these beds out of the way. That back bed I got to take apart and rebuild. I'm just waiting for some material to be able to do so. And we got to take everything out and lower those boards in the beds. But we're going to be doing that here in the next couple days. Today we're going to be doing the swirl filter, which I've wanted to do the swirl filter on this system for quite a while now. I just haven't got around to it. But I think today's the day. We're going to try and get this hooked up and hopefully get that operating the way we need it to operate. But I figured I'll take you along on how I do that. I've never done it before. This will be a first for me. I've never built a swirl filter. And I'm going to go and build a great big barrel swirl filter for the aquaponic system and bring you guys along. So hope you maybe learn something or just have fun watching me fumble around trying to figure this out for the first time. I'm sure once you do something like this, could be almost DIY, like into a smaller container you could incorporate into smaller systems too, I'm sure. But we're going to be doing this today. I'll be taking some video of how I do it. And oh, sorry. As you can see here, I'm probably going to cut it just above this here somewhere, so that way I can have this on the barrel that I can see, you know, 50, 40, 35, 30. And we'll probably bring in our swirl filter and have it sitting around this area here, the 30 to 35 gallon mark. And then that's going to give us, you know, 20 gallons of settling area that should, the water spin should slow down enough down here that it almost sits still. And then when the bottom sits still, everything can settle down at the bottom. And then our overflow pipe will have up here around the 45 mark or so. And that's where the water will overflow and return to the sump. But we're going to cut this barrel here, probably up here across the top of here, and just open it up so we have easier access. We probably won't be using these holes. These holes aren't the size, so I'm going to be eliminating those. We'll have to make one more hole on this, but yeah, I'm going to cut this barrel here. So see how this goes. I've only cut a barrel a few times, so let's see what happens here. Luckily, I'm planning on using just this line here, and I'm just going to try and cut along that line so I don't have to. If I wanted a different height, I would have to measure out the height and then draw a line at that height all the way around, so I had a line to follow. So like you can use the lines that are already on the barrel that help you too, right? And then like I said, the barrel also usually comes with gauges. Food grade barrels. Try to have a food grade barrel. Don't get chemical barrels. If you're going to use a barrel, make sure it was a food grade, used in the food industry somewhere. A good place that you can get them are what do you call them? Breweries and distillers and stuff, because they used a lot of this for foaming agents and stuff to clean the pipes and stuff like that, and that's food grade, and it's pretty clean, and it ends up being an excess that they usually get rid of. So you can get barrels usually pretty cheap through like a brewery and stuff like that, if you got one close to you. Here in Canada, a great place to look for barrels and those IBC square totes. You see those plastic totes? They you can look on what's called Kijiji. Kijiji usually has somebody on there selling barrels or selling the IBC totes all the time. Just make sure you're asking them if they're food grade, and double check yourself on the tags that are usually on it, because there is chemical ones too, and you don't. Those ones are good for storing bins or whatever, but not for your fish. Another suggestion I'd have too is, you see the width of the barrel? It's not very thick plastic. You don't want to run your blade super deep in there. You only want your blade set so it's only going through about the depth of the material that you're cutting through. You don't want to go through too much more than the depth, because it gets hard and it'll bind up, it heats up, and it wants to melt and stick. So if you keep it only cutting what you need to cut, it'll usually go a little smoother for you. I think that should be pretty good. See, I don't have an edge to check it, but that doesn't look like it goes through very far. You know what? We could probably even get a little less out of that. Come up just a little bit more. Like I said, we just want to slide it through the material, and that's it. All right. I don't know, the best way to do this is probably over here. See what happens. I haven't tried this yet myself, so I think it'll cut okay though. Guess what? I'm gonna have to go deeper, because where I want to cut the crease of the barrel, the guide's sitting there, so I'm gonna have to go deeper. I didn't realize that. So we're gonna have to go a little deeper, so it has enough to actually bite into there. Okay, we'll try this again. one little bit right here. It's not quite. Must be a thicker piece of plastic. Oh, you know what it is? Manufacturers made it a little thicker on the crease. We're gonna have to go even a little deeper. See what happens? How it kicks back there? That's because that blade isn't too deep. Just I can't. Where is this thing? It's only right here. It's just where the barrel's being put together. The plastic's thicker, so it didn't cut it. We're having a little trouble. Man, that's way thicker. That is way thicker than the rest of it. Probably didn't cut through the other side too, I'd imagine. There we go. All right. So yeah, same thing on the other side here. I'm gonna have to do that again. Here, look at the difference in the thicknesses. Look at the difference. That's way thicker. So keep that in mind when you're cutting that off. Hey, got a little lip there. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you guys can see. Let me come over and take a look. There we go. Make sure you guys get a look at this here. So here, look at the barrel. See how thick that went there? Was not expecting that. So at that exact lip, there's obviously a big thicker part. The rest of it, it's all cutting it off pretty good. But yeah, keep in mind when you're cutting those barrels, it's got that big thicker lip there. I did not realize that right away, but that's okay. We got our barrel. Now we're gonna wash it off and clean it up a little bit. We're gonna have to drill a hole in the side of it and build our stand in the room. But I'll bring in one pipe up here, a little lower somewhere, even maybe lower, just underneath this line here maybe. And we'll put that in there, and that's gonna be our overflow drain pipe that I'm gonna put a P-trap on. That's gonna be our top drain back into the sump to bring the water back into the system from the swirl filter. And then the swirl filter part, we're just gonna bring it from the tank up over from the tank, and then we're going to bring it up and over top of it and just drop it in there with a little head on there to get the swirl action happening. So hopefully it'll work the way I'm hoping it will. But we got that part done. We got the barrel cut. Now I just have to drill the hole, and we got to do another drill a hole for the bottom drain, because my flush out drain, we're going to take a tap and take this. I'm going to take a tap, and we're going to tap the bottom, and then we're going to twist our tap into there, and then that'll be our clean out. So then when we go to want to flush the barrel, we can just turn the tap on and off, right? So that way, boom, and then we can close the tap off and open it back up. I'm just, hopefully this sucker doesn't leak. We'll find out, I guess, once we get it on there. It is older, and I like to reuse as much as I can, as often as I can, and that way I'm not having to go out. These plastic taps and stuff, they can be quite expensive, so I like to reuse them as often and as much as possible. So it's been used quite a few times, and we're going to put it back to use again for our bottom drain off the barrel. So, and I'm hoping that I can drill the hole just a little smaller, and I'll be able to force that in as a thread. I'm hoping that that's strong enough to thread into the barrel, and that way we can get a good seal on there. But all right, let's get that done too now. sink here. I don't know, that might end up being a little too big. No, definitely. Oh, here we go. I do got that. Okay, so we can crank that on there. So we need a drill. That's what we're missing, our drill. So I gotta think, keep in mind as I'm going to drill this, how I want the barrel sitting on the stand. So clean out, I want to be able to see like those gauges right here. We want to be able to see these on the outside, so we'll probably put our tap just underneath those lines, so then that part sits out and we can see our water gauges at the same time. But maybe we should go through this part. You think this part here probably be more, I'm just trying to think of the way in the mind I was thinking I was going to cut here, but keeping in mind of how much difference this plastic was, I don't think it might not be a very flat piece on the inside molding of the barrel. So I'm going to choose to go here because I want that as flat as possible because it's a hard bulkhead. So we're gonna go underneath on the flattest part. A good idea is start your hole like that, put it in reverse, and go slowly in reverse. Just go in reverse, nice as that. As you go in reverse on the drill, you can see it slowly scoring a hole. It's going to take a little longer because I had to jerry rig up one. So as you can see here, we're going to cut 2 holes because I had to jerry rig it to work there. So yeah, just keep the drill in reverse. Okay, now we got a good little crevice. Now we can go forward. Oh, and it's not going to stay tight enough. We might have to stay in reverse the whole time. We'll see. I'll tighten this up again and see what happens. Yeah, it's not gonna stay together. I think we'll still get it to cut a hole through there, but we're not going to be able to go forward. And our hole saw, I'm missing pieces to it, so I'm using it as the best I can. But big reverse is our best bet. These reverses keep spinning. So, there we go. All right, we're going to clean this up, but now there's a little bit of an X-Acto knife just to make sure the edges are clean. See, we don't want this flap here, so we're going to have to get an X-Acto knife and clean that off. We're just gonna take a little bit. We just want it as clean as we can get it. We don't want to take too much of the plastic. That's our hole size is already big enough, so we only want to just take off that little bit of flap of the plastic that is still on there from the drill going through. that. Just want the edge nice and clean, the edges here, because that's where our bond's going to be when we put our cap in here. Let's see how that fits. Oh, that's going to fit perfect. There we go. I got our bottom tap, and now we just got to wash the barrel off. We got one more hole to drill for the 3-inch hole for our rubber gasket for our Lin line. You have to use the rubbers on the sides of the barrels. I can get away with using the hard one on the bottom or the top because it's flat. You can't use this one on the sides because it's round and it's got the concave on it. So these ones won't work on the side unless you put 2 or 3 of the rubber gaskets on there, and you can seal it up a little bit. But you can only really use this on a flat surface, and then you can put it on there. For the round side, we're going to use this in a 3-inch hole on the side. And then as you force your pipe in there, it pushes that out, and that's what bonds that to the barrel. And then as you can see, it's rubber, it bends. So it's going to concave to the barrel like that, right? When we push it in there, and then we force the pipe and it pushes it out, and that creates the seal. And that'll be for our pipe going back to the tank, because that needs to be lower than our water line in the tank, so we know our going back to the tank. So that's going to be the front of the barrel here. I'm just trying to think of how it's going to come out of the tank here. We're going to need our hole over on this side here somewhere. So we're going to have to bring a hole out the side. That's the front. We're going to have to bring it out over here. A little 4-inch, 3-inch hole, 4-inch hole. We're probably going to put it like right here. Right there. We can only hope our battery's going to hold the charge long enough. I'm not sure if I have another battery. Oh, sure. Now I can't get it to come off. Alright, we got our 3-inch sort of on there. Hopefully we can make a hole good enough to be able to use this rubber bulkhead. Make sure the base is there. It's gonna water come in, we swirl it around, and we're gonna bring it back to the tank over here. So hole's gonna be about there. And of course I got the drill in reverse. Well, in forward first, get your guide point, then we got to be in reverse. This already came loose again. And we want to be in reverse so you don't catch the plastic and pull it really hard. So if you put it in reverse and you go in backwards, it'll slowly grate itself in a hole. Hold it at a little bit of an angle. As you can see, going backwards, it takes a little bit more effort. I guess we might not and push it. It doesn't, it's probably easier if I stood on the barrel. Get myself a little bit of a grip on there. But yeah, I have to do 2 holes because of how I put that together. So it's taking a little more. But it's working. Probably about halfway through now. I just don't want it to punch through into my leg, so gotta make sure we're okay there. All right, and again we'll have to clean up this little bit. This is a little bit of stuff that's there right here. We gotta take that stuff off. So then you got a nice clean edge here. Okay, now that's all done. Our holes are in. That guy just pop in there, boom, see, like that. And now when you force our 2-inch pipe in there, it's going to push, and the pressure of that pushing the pipe in there is going to create the seal on that, and that because it's rubber, it can follow the concave of the barrels. So hopefully it won't leak. That's that. And as you can see, you can take them out and reuse them again in time. But now we're gonna have to get this barrel all washed out, scrubbed off a little bit, and we'll put it together and get our stand built. Okay. Came out of the bottom like that. It's going to be the same way when we go to flush it out of there. All the sediment and stuff that we get built up on the bottom, right? We're giving it a quick rinse and wipe, and we'll get all this plastic stuff out of here and stuff. Here we go. The bottom drain's going to work pretty good. size bit. Wrong size bit. Try again with a different bit. Got all our pieces cut. Now we just got to screw them together. This screw here might be hoot. I think we're gonna need a new one. That screw's no good. I got a bad screw. There you go. Now we're just gonna keep continually screw all our pieces together, and we're gonna make a platform for our barrel to sit on. And we're gonna screw them all together. Oh, that's our other 24. I want a shorter 20. That's the width of our stand. But I think I'm gonna have to switch out batteries on my drill here. Hold that flush there. Up a little bit. Right there's good. Oh no. There we go. And we're just going to continue on each corner and go all the way around and screw in all our feet like this, and then this will be the top platform of where the barrel's going to sit. So we're going to keep going, get this all screwed together, and we'll get the barrel up there. All right. Okay, we got our barrel rinsed out. You can see here I've put together a stand right here. It's not the fanciest stand, and it's not the best, but we could always paint it black or something like that later on, or just let plants grow around it. Yeah, we're gonna put on our bulkhead here in the bottom there. Put our tap there, where we're gonna have our clean out. Oh, my battery's already gonna die. That's great. And my bulkhead here that we're gonna have for the clean out on the bottom, where we're gonna be able to flush out all the stuff that we had in there. Clean that up. Everything's a little wet in here. It's hard to work in the winter. It's gonna be a little tricky. I think it would probably be easier with a little bit of a hand, but I think if I just put that there, and then I can stand the barrel up and I can get the nut started on the inside here. Tighten it down as tight as you can get it with your fingers. It's going to leave a little bit of a lip on the bottom, but that's not too big of a deal. You're going to make sure that it's sort of centered in the hole, which it looks pretty good to me. We're going to give it a crank here with our channel locks. Working, but barely. I think that's pretty tight. Hopefully that's not going to leak. We'll find out when we put water in there. If anything, I'll have to get a bigger pair of channel locks and get in there. But that's pretty snug in there now. So that's where we're going to turn our tap and put our tap on. Where our tap will go is here, so we can go like that, and now we can turn this on and off to flush out the system. Yeah, it's gonna work. I might have to get a cap or something here just to close this off, but I think that'll be okay. Or actually, you know, I might have a cap for that. Let's see if this works. This is the cap that came with that thing. That spins in there. There we go. Okay, so now we got a drain tap for the cap and everything. So this sucker shouldn't leak on us. And that should be pretty good. That's right on. Okay, there's our tap. Now we got our rubber gasket. A rubber gasket that goes into the hole we drilled. I'm just going to force that in there. Ooh, no. Now that rubber gasket's in there. What that allows us to do. I guess this pipe's a little dirty here. We're going to have to wipe that off a little bit. This should be able to just get pushed through. I'm sure it's going to be a little tricky. That should, you know what? Probably be easier if I sand this edge a little bit and give it a little bit of a lift. Grab onto that. It's definitely going to be a snug fit. As you can see, I'm pushing quite hard on that barrel. Go at an angle. Swirl. Oh, that's not going to let me do it. It's definitely going to be snug. You cut that barrel off there. Yeah, we're gonna have to sand this edge here so it slips a little easier into the hole. I'm not sure where I got any sandpaper. Couldn't find any sandpaper, but close at hand I got my handy dandy utility knife. Always comes in handy. And I'm just gonna trim off that edge a little bit. So it's a little easier to get that pipe started in there. Trim that off there. And you got to be careful you're doing this. I've had lots of practice with a utility knife. But if you're doing this, you don't want to be cutting towards it. You go the other way. You might not take out as nice of pieces, but you don't want anybody getting cut. Try and always use a knife cutting away from you. And we're going to get a little bit more meat off that side here. Okay, let's see if that'll work any better. It'd probably be handier too, even if I could get a piece of sandpaper, but I don't have one handy here. I figured it would be a little tricky to get this in here just because it is the big bulkhead, but it's definitely really tricky to get in here. Maybe I wanted to get even a bigger hole in there or something, but oh, here we go. All right, we got that sucker started in there. We're just going to work our way through. We're in the barrel. Okay. I'm just going to, that holds it pretty good. Yeah, to even turn it, that takes quite a bit of force to even just turn that like that. I was hoping I'd be able to slide that pipe into there and be able to move it back and forth to be able to get my drain. But I don't think once I get it in there, I don't think I'm going to get it out very easily. So we're going to get it in a little further by wiggling it around in circles and back and forth. And just get a little bit at a time, as you can see. There. Now we got a good little. This is going to be good. The part that goes back to the fish, or to like back into the system from the barrel. We just need this to drain back into the sump, basically. We got that now. What we're going to do on the inside here, on the end of this pipe, I'm going to set up like a P-trap, like what you see underneath your sinks and stuff like that, your kitchen sink and bathroom sinks. A P-trap with a stem on it, and then that stem I'm going to be able to cut to the height I want to be able to control my water level in here, because I only wanted water leaving this barrel from the very, very top of it or the very, very bottom of it. We're going to be bringing in our water probably through this hole. We're going to bring it in, and then I'm going to drop it down into the middle of the barrel with a setup sort of like this that I'm going to have on the edge of the barrel, helping it rotate the water. So it helps keep the water circulating so it can settle on the bottom. We'll see how it works. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've done this too, so let's all learn together. But these rubber bulkheads, yeah, they're a little hard to get that pipe in there, but sure seems like it's doing a good job of doing what you want it to do. Now, we got our taps on, we got our drain on. We're going to have to go up into here. The drain looks like we did a pretty good job of getting it where we wanted it. Now we got to unplug the pump in the system and disconnect the pipe. I guess you can't really see here. Let me just move you up a little bit. So there's the barrel that's on the stand now, right? The stand with the barrel. And the pipe is in behind the fan here. You can't really see it because of the fan, but the pipe comes out from the fish tank. It's going to go into the barrel. Then we're going to drop it down onto this swirl pipe, right? And then this is going to come down out of the tank and into the barrel and on the edge of the barrel, and then it's going to cause the water to spin like this in the middle. And we want that to spin the water, and it's going to settle. All the material in the water starts settling to the bottom, and then it just sits at the bottom of the barrel. So it's all going to be coming down, swirl, 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 down into the barrel and settle here. So that way now, this bottom part here will have all the stuff in there, which we can go in here now and go in under here, turn the tap on and flush all that stuff out of here. That's going to be settled there, that we don't have to worry about it clogging up our grow beds and our actual filter, right? So I'm super excited to get this done. This is one of the last pieces I had to get onto my system to really get it as a fully really good, nice setup system. So excited to have this done. Excited to see it operating and stuff like that, and see how it's going to work. So far, I'm going to disconnect this pump and we're going to get that pipe there. I'm going to clean some of this stuff off though, and then I'll turn on the, because once I unplug it, I can't have it unplugged too long. I'm not sure what's going to happen with all the water levels. Everything in here for flow wise and stuff is all done by just little taps on extra, more or less, right? So I think we're pretty good. Everything's set that way. So now we're ready to unplug. I'm just taking a second here to double check, think about what we're going to do. I can't remember or not if I think the end of this pipe I only pressure fit, just push together, because of the drain. It doesn't really have any real pressure in it. So I'm hoping that's the case, because if I glued it, then it's going to be a little bit more work. I don't have much to play with coming out of the tank anymore, because of course it's a reused bulkhead. So I only have a little piece of pipe at the end of that bulkhead, and it's been glued a few times. So I don't know if it breaks off again. If I might end up getting stuck using a new bulkhead. But I do have one on standby if something goes wrong. So because the system can't go down, the fish depend on it being a quick switch over. But I gotta crawl in underneath here, get all this stuff off there. And my pump and plug is back there. I'm gonna swing in there as soon as I get that out of there. It looks like it's a perfectly lined up hole almost from here. I'm seeing a little bit of glue there, so I might have to cut this and put a coupler on there. It looks like we're in pretty good position for everything. I think we're good. I just want to make sure, because like I said, it has to be pretty done fairly quick. I still have to just put together my P-trap inside there and cut my stuff too. You know what? That might actually be easier. See, this is why we think it out first. I think it'll be easier to get my P-trap built and attached in here, because I know now, okay, I know now my distance is good from here to the tank, and I can move it around. It gives me a little bit of things. So I'm going to cut off some of this excess and put my P-trap drain with a pipe on there that I can take on and off, and cut that to height instead of having to mess around trying to do that in the tank or in the bin when it's up there. I think it'll be easier down here. So we're gonna, now that I got that in there, when that's all in there, we're gonna cut this back and get that set up on there first. Got a couple of something like that. Something relatively pretty simple. It doesn't even really need to be like 100% a P-trap, just because it is just an overflow drain. I think that's going to work pretty good. With something like this, you know, but I think this pipe's glued in there, unfortunately. But it'd be nice to have this pipe to be able to be removable, take it in and out, so that way if I need to make it deeper or shorter, it's pretty easy just to cut that. But what I can see, I think that would be pretty good anyhow. I think that would be the height that we sort of want. So we're gonna just go with this for now. If I have to change it, I got another part I can put on there. But like I said, I like to reuse things, and this has been sitting here for a while, so it'd be nice to put it into working order. And then it's not just sitting here as garbage. We're not collecting garbage, we're collecting material for projects. That's what I like to say. Alright, that's sawed off there. I can just use a jab saw, a keel saw, pretty easy. Now we got our drain stem. We can put that in there. And even that way, I wouldn't even have to cut it. I could just turn it. If I wanted lower, deeper, or shallower, I think that'll work pretty good. It actually sits. And that's sitting there like that. That's sitting right at our 45-gallon mark. So this bin full should be holding about 45 gallons of water, because this is what it looks like. right? So like it's just like that. So the water will rise as it swirls in there. Water will rise and then go back down through this pipe and then back to the tank. And then the water will come in through here, and then I'm going to bring it in and we're going to drop it down onto that and to put the swirl in there. So it'll be cool. I'm super excited. This is what I've been lacking on this system for quite a while now. I've wanted to do it, so sort of glad I got the push to get it done. And the materials, I guess, I had to order those rubber bulkheads. I didn't have those. So, but I think now, I think we're ready. I think we're ready. Get this back up here. Drain pipes there. Okay. Now we're going to see drop these tanks and see. Hopefully I don't lose too much water. I do have water in my bin to be able to top the system back up and add this extra bit of water into the system. Our stand's nice and sturdy. Should be able to hold this barrel up no problem. So I guess let's unplug this and get this on the go here and see what happens. Oh, actually, I forgot. My phone just gave me the notification. It was going to die. I got to get you guys put onto a charger. And we'll get this out. I'll make sure that I video this. Maybe get a different angle of what I'm doing up on this pipe here. Okay. All right. I got some more juice back in the battery here. So this is where the pump's plugged in here. That's the pump I use or whatever. It's a wacky or something. This is my backup. In case that one goes down, I got one here ready to go that I can hook up right away. This is where it's plugged into here. And that's under the stand or whatever, and we gotta unplug this sucker. So I'm always nervous to unplug stuff. I'm a little tricky here with one hand. Okay, that pumps off. And now that grinding you're hearing probably is the other pump. I think the propeller, I used to have it in a koi pond, and I think a rock got in there and it makes a little bit of noise. But now we got to wait for this water leveled here to drop in both these tanks over there, so this drain isn't here. This is the pipe here, the drain that comes across into here. And then I'm hoping if I remember correctly, I didn't glue this. But if I glued it, I'm going to have to try to cut the pipe without breaking my connection in here. Because my connection in here, I only have a little bit of pipe in there. And if that breaks, I'd say it's a pain in the butt to get that to glue in there again. But I do have a brand new bulkhead. If everything goes all wacky, then we can switch that bulkhead right out. But I'm going to have to wait here for this water to drain out of this tank and out of this back tank. Just down this, they don't lose much water. This tank's probably almost already overflowed into this tank here. That's the little pump in the back. We're gonna have to get another little power head, and hopefully we can push this stuff around, and like I said, get it up over into this tank where we're gonna have a bottom tank and all that stuff in the bottom. Sorry for the swinging around, I'm dodging chairs here. But all the bottom drain here, all that will come over, and then we'll get it in there, and then we'll go over here and it'll suck up the bottom drain into our swirl filter, where hopefully it'll all build up and fill up this bottom here where I can flush it out and get that hard stuff out, and that won't go into the system then. That will keep that super strong sediment, which I don't mind the barrel. I got the ladder in front of it right now, but the barrel, that'll go into there, and then that way all the real thick heavy sediment and stuff won't be getting caught up in here either. That's why I took the bottom drain off that tank, is so then most of that sediment and stuff, or the poop or whatever, is going to sit down there, and then I go and siphon it out with a hose, right? I don't want to siphon it out with a hose anymore. I want to try to set up a system, which that's what this does. It's like a settling chamber where all that stuff settles, and I can then just turn it on and take it out. But it sounds like we're making bubbling sounds up there now. So I think we are just about I just want to make sure that we're below the pipe in there, and I know you can't really see. Let's see if I can get in there. Yeah, see the water's still not quite below the edge of that pipe. You can see the edge of the pipe there, and then we can get that water down below that pipe, and then I can disconnect this one. And hopefully it goes all smooth, and I can just get it back into that, turn the hose on, fill up the barrel, plug in the pump, everything fills back up, and I don't lose too much water. I do have this barrel, like what's gonna happen is all the water is now gonna settle out of everything while I'm waiting, and yeah, it's already gonna overflow a little bit. So I gotta get on this, hurry up and try and switch these pipes out. I think it's just about done there. So, but yeah, that's one thing. In the next ones, I'd like to have taps that I sort of have, that I can hold water in the system. I can sort of turn the taps and hold all the water in the system where it is. So when I do have to turn things on and off and stuff like that, I can sort of stop the water where it's at and hold it at different levels and get rid of it from different areas. But I'll explain that more as I go into rebuilding this, which I've put a lot of thought into, and I think I'm happy with where I'm at. I just have to figure out material and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't want to go out and spend a whole bunch of money, but the more I want to do what I want to do, it's like if I spend the money, I'll get exactly well, not maybe exactly, but close to what I'm looking to get. But the plastic and stuff, it's all worked pretty good for a while, and that's just the plastic uses. The blackout plastic here, you get that at like grow places, garden shops and stuff. It's a blackout plastic. That's the plastic I'm using for just wrapping the bottom of the beds or whatever for now. It's been working pretty good. I've noticed with a couple crimples, the bigger plants like the begonia and stuff will push its way through the plastic though. So, you know, there is areas that I do have some leakage, that like on here and stuff, where the roots have pushed their way through the plastic. So I don't know if I want to do the plastic again. I might want to do the things, but yeah, okay, we better get on this. Okay. Unfortunately, as you can see here, I did glue this. So I got to cut this pipe and put a union in here. So I'm just in the middle of doing that right now. I'll get back to you in a second. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I keep putting it down. It's just hard to do all this with one hand and get video of it. But now we got our drain hooked up here. It's gonna come in here, it's gonna make a swirl, fill this up, and then overflow into there, and then back over into our sump. But as you can see, all our water's drained out. We need to get the system plugged back in here and filled up. So fingers crossed, this pump's gonna start back up for us pretty easily. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. I don't know what kind of angle you're gonna get. We're just gonna slide it in that way and see what happens. Away we go. It sounds like it's going okay. So hopefully we'll get some water back in here. Because as you can see, we definitely over flooded a little bit, but that's okay. I just get a new little fresh water change, because all the beds, they've drained probably down to the heights of the boards that are in there and stuff too. So a little bit of water's overflowed out of the system, but that's also why I keep a dirt floor in here. So we're gonna watch this sucker fill up, and we're gonna get our other hose here prepped and ready to go in to our bin. Well, this water level starts dropping, we can just turn on the hose and watch this water level here, because this is water levels where all the water is going to just start filling up all the tanks now. And then everything, I didn't touch my taps, which I got taps on here on these, right? And that's how I control the flow out of the sump into the beds, that, you know, it's an equal flow in and out. So I use the taps as like valves to control the flow. And like I said, I'd like to get valves on the drains as well, maybe on the next build or something. We'll see what happens. It just those taps are expensive, so, but it'd be nice to be able to shut everything off, you know. If you got to unplug it, be able to tap it off, hold the water in the system, And then I don't have to worry about, as you can see, flooding the system. Oh, I broke another piece of begonia running in and out of there. That's okay. The begonia, as you can see here, is flooded this bed again, so I had to lift it out. So we got to get some work done in there. I think I'm going to be getting some time here coming up, so I hopefully can maybe do something like that. But it looks like our water levels are coming up a little bit. I don't know. Try and unplug and turn that pump on again and give it another jump. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes you got to unplug it and turn it on and off. There's an air bubble or something in there, but I don't think we're sucking water right now. If we are, it's not very much. We're going to try and jump start this guy again. Do it again here. Okay, we got the pumps running right now. The water level's coming up in the tank. We got to wait for that to overflow. And then over into our barrel, where I got to be watching our water level in here, see how much that's already dropped. I better turn that pump on. And we run over here and we got to make sure the pump's turned on. Now the pump's turned on, we got to make sure our hose isn't kinked up. I got such a mess in here from messing around all day, cleaning up. Now we've got some water going into the bin, and hopefully this will keep up with what we need to fill up here. I'll have to watch, and hopefully it doesn't outpower the system, or this pump will keep up with what's going back into the system. I'm not sure about that yet. We'll see. But we should be starting to get water into our barrel here pretty quick. The water should be starting to rise in both tanks. The water should be starting to come up. There's some stuff that's in there. That's a bunch of stuff, actually. We might as well net that stuff out right now. Just around the corner, hanging from the stand. My battery's gonna die again as I just waited, but I'm gonna net most of that stuff out because we might as well. No point in starting out with all this. It looks like a bunch of wood chips and stuff that I got in here from the floor and whatnot. So we might as well start out. No, nothing in here. That looks pretty clean to me. We got a bunch of stuff out of there now. So here comes our water flow in, and then as that water flows in, you can see the circle motion is already sort of starting. And once that water gets past that point, it's going to continue that circle motion and have everything sort of to give it time to slowly settle out of the water. And then when it sits in the bottom, all I got to do is, shut down the water and I can flush the barrel out and get that stuff out. So that'll be a lot easier. But now we got to just wait for this to fill up. And we got that going. We got our hose going full bore over there, so it's hard to say if it's going to keep up with the pump or not, because sometimes that pump, as you can see, it moves a little bit of water. So it's definitely doing the swirl action. Ooh, exciting. I'll probably wait till the morning and we'll see how it's working tomorrow morning too, and see how it's capturing everything and whatnot. So yeah, everything looks like it's doing okay. We're in action. We just got to wait for everything to fill up now. All right. Barrel's all topped up. Just underneath my emergency overflow. Seems like it has just enough drainage to keep up with it. And I can, if I want, like I said, I can turn this. I can go side to side, and that'll also force that water level down, because it'll start sucking lower than just this is perfectly flat at the top of the water, because I wanted to see the barrel when it was fully filled up. Might be able to see it better in the daytime, the swirl action. Here, I'll try and get in a little closer. just the daylight coming in. But yeah, the water comes in on an angle like that. You see the bubbles going by, and then that causes a swirl all the way through everything. And then all the big heavy stuff, look at that, how exciting is that? There's already stuff starting to add up on the bottom. So as that builds up on the bottom, I can drain that out the bottom drain. But that should keep all that real hard stuff out of our main system and only have the, what's it called, diluted stuff, the stuff that's already broke down into the water that the plants are going to eat is what's going into the system, and we try and keep the hard stuff out of it. But yeah, our water levels are almost all caught up and running again, so we should be set. Swirl filter. That was my last piece of this puzzle that I didn't have hooked up, and now I do. So now I think with this swirl filter, it's going to help me out a lot when I go to redo these beds, because now a lot of the sediment that's going to get caught up in there, I can catch it here before it gets caught up in my mats and stuff in here. So I think that'll help out a lot. Right on. Success. All right, now that the swirl filter's all hooked up and working, we're gonna get this bottom drain. I just wanted to show I took like a planter cup from a hydroponic grow place and I cut one out. I just left two and then one and two and one. And the reason I did that was the first time I hooked this up, these little spaces weren't enough. A poo would get stuck in there, and then another poo would get stuck in there, and then it would clog it up before, you know, before the poo would break. So if I give it a big enough space that if a poo does get stuck, there still is enough space for another one to go by and move by until this one breaks off from the flow. So I'm hoping that works better. I just wanted to show that's the bottom drain that now I get to hook up. This part here, and then the bottom, it goes into the tank and it sits in there like that, and it sucks all the water and poo off the bottom, which is going to get trapped in our swirl filter. And I just wanted to show you that. That's next we're going to put in there, and then hopefully I'll show you how well it's working. And then that's the bottom drain in action. Looks like it's going to work pretty good. Starting to suck everything that is on the bottom of the tank up and into our swirl filter. But yeah, that's why I see the little pieces that are getting caught on those. That's why I made those bigger gaps on there. And so like the little pieces that'll get stuck for a little bit, but it still gives room for other stuff to get through. But yeah, that goes in there and then up the pipe and across into our swirl filter, which our swirl filter here should already be in action and starting to catch stuff from, yeah, you're not going to be able to see into the bottom of that, but everything that comes into the pipe here is going to go into the pipe, swirl around all the heavier stuff. As it swirls, it gives it longer time to settle, and then as it settles, the water on the top comes up cleaner than the water coming in. But that's it. Success is success, and it was a little bit of work and I got it done. Super stoked about that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day, morning, evening, whatever it may be for yourselves. Wishing nothing but the best. Bye.